After a tumultuous standoff over the planets of Fondor, the CIS have emerged victorious after wiping out a major Republic navy headed by a Praetor battlecruiser. Successfully beating back this fleet and therefore taking the planet for themselves, the CIS have thus gained a dreadnought-capable shipyard closer to the core of the galaxy. With this gain, though, comes an increased strain on the CIS's logistics. With only a handful of fleets at their disposal and concentrated towards the northern sector of the galaxy, the CIS are spread thin, and therefore must look to increasing their fleet strength and pushing towards Cato and Deko Nemoidia, two very integral parts of their core defence. In a bid to secure their galactic flank, secure more income for future fleets, and also free up an idle fleet, the CIS now look to dominate the planets of Muunilinst and Dantooine. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Star Wars Empire at War as the CIS on Fall of the Republic mod. We are going to start off today by lining out two primary objectives. The first one, very simple. We're going to start trying to use our massive amount of credits in the bank at the moment, and we're going to spend most of the credits on reforming our navy, our space force. We're going to be doing that by increasing the amount of Providence class carrier destroyers, the main standing point of a CIS fleet. Why have we not been using those previously? No particularly good reason, to be honest, but we need to get some more fighters and bombers out, and these are excellent, and they do deal a good amount of damage with all of their weaponry on their own ships as well. So we need that. The main reason for that is, if we go over to Grievous's fleet, we can see we are lacking in that sort of department. We have a lot of heavy frigates, we've got a few minor frigates, but of course Grievous is the centerpiece there. We do have 8 standard carriers there. We do have a couple captive munitions carriers, but that's not quite going to cut it for what is hovering in Kashyyyk. On the face value of things, that looks like it's okay. The strongest unit there is a Venator headed by a minor fleet commander. But if we take a closer look, we can see 15 Victory 1s, 3 Victory 2s, but even scarier, 3 Praetors in one fleet. Now, there's no way we're going to avoid this. This is very likely going to strike out within this episode. Because I doubt it wants to stay in one position over Kashyyyk, and that's likely going to hit either Onderon or Trandosha, or even we could go to quarter 6. We do need to go over there immediately though, because they're preparing a land invasion there by the looks of things with the 1 victory over there. We do have an army there, but we don't actually have any standing base. I don't remember why exactly, so we're going to sort that out immediately. And what we're going to do is go to our Dreadnought tier shipyards all the way over in Dantooine and Pament, and we're probably going to be a little surprised to see that we don't actually have anything in some of them. Let's have a look. We do have a shipyard here. We actually are using our shipyards here. That's excellent. So that means we can get a couple here, a couple on Pament. 4 will be fine for now, I think. What we want otherwise, though, is I think we want an Omni out so that we can produce a few more fighters and bombers, but also have the interdiction mines available for Grievous's fleet. And we're also going to build a few more captive munitions carriers, and I want to start conversing from our normal carriers over to the captors, because they are going to produce more fighters and bombers, and they have the more offensive capabilities as well, the light turbo lasers and concussion missiles. So we'll produce a few of those, just a handful. The second primary objective is to take Muunilinst and Dantooine. We've sent a probe droid over here previously, and we can see that there's basically nothing defending this. 2 barracks, 1 standing unit of scouts, but of course the Senator's office does always provide quite the hefty garrison with ATRTs and a lot of TX-130s and more bark speeders as well, which do give our infantry a lot of problems over there. And we'll see a lot of clones coming out from the double barracks. So what do we have in the vicinity to take that? Well, we have a rather large standing fleet over here with a Lucrehulk battleship. So that's going to be very nice indeed. That can take the shots from the hypervelocity cannon on Muunilinst quite easily. On Scipio though, we do have a lot of tanks. We have 2 armoured tank droids, 2 AATs, and of course some light walkers and such. And on my geese we do have a small amount of infantry. Going to need a little more though, I think, despite of course there being bark speeders and infantry out here. I do want to produce, I think, some B2s can come out. So these will have to deploy in orbit because we are full up on the ground there. We do have an MTT to help us as well. So produce one more of those, and I think on Scipio we will go for some HMPs because they will pretty much hard counter any infantry and bark speeders that come out of the barracks over here. They're very, very good infantry support there. So wait for those to come out and then we'll launch against Muunilinst. And down here we're finally going to press play. We are going to send, I think, the Viceroy around on a small trip. He's going to go to Sullust down here, provide some more providences for our fleet over here. This is quite a hefty fleet, but I do want some carriers over there as well, some more hefty carriers over there. Let's have a look down here at Praesitlum. Just scout out to make sure there's no enemy fleets waiting there. Probably want something Naboo as well to sort that out. Let's come here. We will provide just a few. Get some 4 again, and we'll bring the Viceroy over here. We'll need to shore up our defences around this area as well now, because we are very, very stretched, very, very thin indeed. Let's pause just to take this in. Grievous is going to have to bounce back between Onderon and Deko and Cato and Nemoidia, as well as fight off around here as well. We were going to send him actually straight over to Quarter 6 to make sure we don't get an invasion there that we're not ready for. So we're quite lucky to see on Praesitlum there's basically nothing there. If we really wanted to, we could send a small fleet and army to take that, which might be a good idea, just to block off some routes of invasion over here. If we do take these 3, then that is a very nice choke point to take. It blocks them off because we have some friends at Nelvan over here. We do have Geonosis and Ryloth. So that's a very nice choke point to block off as well. Protects our flank, makes sure we can put a decent fleet over here as well. And we will want to build up a fleet around Cato and Nemoidia. We do have a couple of tactical droids about. Is this a land hero? That certainly is. So we're going to move that away. Don't want to lose him too easily. Now let's get some things started on Fondor, shall we? And we are starting to build up the providences. It looks like Grievous hasn't found anything to fight over here. It looks like they have escaped. It looks like they are certainly building up on Umbara though. We're going to have to sit over here and build up some defences, aren't we, for that. And let's bring over the newly acquired ships from here as quickly as possible. Just getting another one up there with some captors. And I think we've done producing over here for the Munolins campaign, so let's go straight on over and fight this particular battle. Do have a hefty amount of defence here by the looks of things though, so it's going to take us a little longer than we'd have hoped. So we can see the enemy actually does have a Valor class starbase, so you can see the shields and hull points on there. That is going to be a really tough target. However, this is all they have. They will be bringing in reinforcements from these garrisonable places, but I think we should be fine to bring in the battleship to tank the hypervelocity cannon shots. So we'll send this in first with some, of course, carriers. Bring in all the carriers we can. So that will start, and we can bring in some support afterwards. We'll just wait for the hypervelocity cannon to fire out. And that, of course, gives us time to deploy some fighting bombs. And there we go. So now we're going to deploy some damage-dealing ships. What's that done? Yeah, that's wrecked a few hard points, but the overall damage is absolutely fine over here. And that should do. Let's just go straight on in. Attack forwards. Attack move commands. Good. Let's send forwards our fighters first to pick off and distract anything. And then what we can do is we can control group the bombers. We'll do the fighters as well, just keep them moving, make it easy to select them. And we'll send the bombers, I think, straight on over to destroy the golem, because they'll deal with that quite handily. Well, we've destroyed the Carracks and PDF Dreadnoughts defending the base. We're going to go for the fighter bays of this particular base, and these shields are taking a long time to bring down. We have wrecked the Golan over here, so we're going to go straight on behind the enemy and go for their frigate shipyard, which will mean that they stop bringing in so many corvettes and such. Our bombers should be able to deal with this just fine. Our fighters are tying up the enemy fighters and bombers. Just make sure we specifically target some Y-wings over here. And we'll focus our fire over here, start targeting the hard points, which will actually deal damage to ourselves, of course. We've taken another hit from the hypervelocity cannon by the looks of things. Not a problem. You can see this is why we bring in a massive tanky centerpiece to our fleets. Probably should have brought in our heroes, so we do get a little more damage out of our fleets here, but not to worry. It is only these static orbital defences to worry about. I'm going to focus on the fighter base and make sure they don't bring in any more reinforcements once we destroy these things. And those are being ripped apart very quick. We have dealt with the frigate shipyard there, so this is going to be quite an easy orbital battle. The land battle, however, will be rather messy, I predict. We do struggle against massive amounts of speeders, and that's exactly what we're going to face. We do still have to destroy the garrison defences here, but not a problem. Our fighters and bombers will be able to deal with these very easily indeed. Very easily indeed. Look at that, already disappearing. Just the one Corellian corvette left over here, and that's going to be a big bye-bye. All of these rockets coming in. Not quite enough point defense to save it there, just nuked it there. Absolutely brilliant. And that should be a very clean victory. It certainly is. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to bring in everything over here. That does leave Scipio open, of course, for an attack, but I'm sure we'll be quick enough over here. And we're just going to double check our production over here and bring this over here. Make sure we are building very quickly on Fondor. Make sure we don't lose any time here. That does have a very good income, but the influence level is not the greatest at the moment. So I don't really want to go down to 3 influence. We're on 5. I'd rather stay on 4. So we'll see what happens once we start building up bases and such. We will, of course, build up some static defense ourselves, and that's a very nice dreadnought tier shipyard as well, isn't it? Let's very quickly bring over our new ships as well, just produced to Grievous. We'll keep an eye on him over here. It's quite the long travel time there. And we will start over here. What do we want to begin with? I think we shall begin, of course, with some B2s here, and let's get going. So we're going to rush straight on over to this second command point here, and we are going to start, I think, with some gunships, and we do need some droids to actually soak up some fire and capture the rest of the command post there. We'll build a military field base over here. We're going to capture this on the way past, just about. Capture this, send these over to help out. Unfortunately, these gunships do not carry infantry with them, which is a small shame. We will be capturing this abandoned post as well, which will give us LR-57 combat droids for that little bit more tankiness and anti-infantry effectiveness there.
Construction complete.
Make sure no infantry can take our command posts here by setting up some defences. We'll send one unit over here to get the the build pad over here as well. We have captured the secondary command post. What we'll do is we will build, I think, a support base so we can repair on the move. We will get out, I think, some artillery is always nice, but this is only a 2-point command post, so we want some vehicles, really, I think. And do we want an MTT out? I think what we'll do is, I think we will get an MTT out for that slow push across the bridge, because this is going to be the trouble now, is really pushing across the bridge. As you can see, we have 2 options here. We're going to come in from this side, I think, so we can perhaps capture the abandoned factory on this side.
We've secured a build pad.
Bring out the LR-57s are very nice indeed. I think we'll deploy already for the infantry there. Scouts ahead. Actually, we don't need to scout ahead. The enemy's just here. Deal with these speeders. Already losing the LR-57s out today. See how deadly the speeders are to the infantry.
Construction complete.
So let's bring our B1s over this side. HMPs and the turret should deal with the LR-57 quite handily there. Very nice indeed. And we'll start just moving quite homogeneously over this side. I get the feeling we're going to get some horrible pathing down this bridge. That is going to be a small problem if that's the case. What we'll do is we'll leave some B2s here to back up the turrets, I think. Scouts ahead. Actually, we saw a blip over here.
We've secured a build pad.
Nothing happening too horribly then, is it? Scouts ours ahead. See the sensor array, but that's not going to do too much for us.
A build pad.
Securing build pads is always good.
Constructing.
Might want to create some sort of back to healing over here, just so we can come back. I will, of course, remember to bring out our support infantry. We do have a bombing run available now, which is excellent for us. Come back. These. What are they doing with these bark speeders? I don't want these to pop up in our backs, really. So let's scout ahead with these, and we can always bring them back. Let's command group those. Move forwards with the B1s first. Yeah, a lot of stuff is going on there. Let's run away. They have an anti-air turret. We might lose an HMP there. We certainly do. Not to worry. Let's change this to a repair station. Repair these up. Yeah, being caught. Being caught rather nicely. Let's pull round here. I don't want to lose the tank droids. We can move in with the LR-57s because they're fairly throwaway. The MTT should shred these quite easily as well. Are we in range of that? We certainly are. Bring in our infantry. Yeah, look at that. MTT excellent for a slow infantry push there.
Unit destroyed. Unit destroyed.
Just do an attack move forwards. The unit destroys will be the LR-57s there. Holding up here a tad, let's make sure we have actually repairs, so we'll just support that a little harder. Big attack move forwards onto the command post here. It's a shame they do have the anti-aircraft turrets over there to deny our HMPs, but we certainly need on the back here. But we can see we have a lot of AI cannons here, which would be excellent against the troopers over here. Make sure our tank droids are firing on this, shall we? Everything needs to now, that's absolutely fine. TX-130s will do a good amount of damage to our tank droids, but because we have the support there, we can overwhelm them. Get rid of this command base here, get rid of the turret, get some infantry on top. What we'll do is make sure our support infantry over here is healing up the tanks and such. MTT's going to push forwards, not a problem. Let's get our group over here once again. We might actually just go for the victory objective here. Let's send one unit over to the abandoned post over here. Military field base again, I think, for the power. And we will, of course, now bring down, I think, what do we want? Some crab droids for the anti-infantry, I think. We're just going to be squashed in over here, aren't we? So more infantry is better. Let's scout around a tad, and let's not waste any more time. Let's push in this direction. We'll bring a small amount of infantry around the back here. There's nothing on this post, so I think we'll just go for the victory over here. Victory position. Burst these down. Do see an anti-tank turret there, not a problem. The crabs should be okay against ours. An anti-infantry turret as well. Okay, we're going to have to be careful with that. In fact, let's get rid of this. Pull back a tad, just so we don't hurt ourselves too much. And there we go, that's that done. Tank droids need to worry about that. Let's bring the entity over. Come round here. And that's absolutely fine. Unit destroyed, that's probably an LR-57 once again. Going down in droves. What do we get out of here? Got out some Hulk droids, very nice indeed. That's some good support there. Let's bring them over here, hold our flank. Come over here to destroy their own Hulk droids there. Guessing ARC troopers is that? It certainly is. Another Hulk droid can deal with that. And we'll just sit on top of this and get a nice, easy victory there, I think. Nice passive victory to reduce our overall losses. And there we go, very nice indeed. We did actually only lose a B1 platoon. That's not a problem at all. Very, very replaceable. I don't often use those myself anyway. I like to go for the tankier super battle droids, don't we? We're going to have to send some units back to Scipio though to defend that, just in case enemy comes on our backs. We are going to scout out Dantooine as well. Let's come back down to this sector for the moment though. Reinforce over here. And make sure we're building on Fondor what we want again as well. That's all good. Let's come back down to Slusvan with the Viceroy. We do have that droid ready now. Let's scout out Dantooine.
Construction complete.
Let's keep those in area there. Build up these stations. Is there nothing on Dantooine? There's not a lot there at all. Okay, we'll very quickly take this over then. Just a heavy factory to provide some TX-130s and the usual Senator's office once again then. That'll be some excellent corner pocket there. That will open us up to Agamar and Ethel once again though. But if we manage to take Agamar, then we've pushed that back and that'll be excellent for us. So we can also send in a fleet and such over from this side as well to support that if need be. Just double check we do have the mining station here because I do have a habit of ignoring that. Let's double check what's going on in this area with Grievous. Do we still have all the Praetors here? Yeah, I really want to catch that out when they've reduced the amount of Praetors there, or just when we have more carriers. I don't want to fight that over the hypervelocity cannon either. So that is going to be an interesting one there. Because they have Abrikia over here, they might even be able to go to Bospisi and Trandosha. So I want another fleet in this area as well, really. That would be quite ideal. We do have the starting of a fleet over here with some minor frigates and such. Is that all of that done over here? We won't bring that in there. What we can do is build, I think we're going to build another subjugator. That should be absolutely fine. Just double checking, we haven't given any thought to the crew costs for anything. We've been quite high with some decent income per cycle. Might want to bump that up to 30 really, but we have a lot in the bank there. We are just about to tick over a cycle, and this will cost 20,000. That's not a problem there. We'll let the Viceroy move down to Slusvan before we build anything else down there. And I think then, with that being said, we're going to go straight on to Dantooine. I actually have a new mission to destroy the super transports at Mimban. We get a Lucrehawk core destroyer, as well as some interest from the banking clan. So Mimban is over here. We can probably rush over to that with this particular fleet, but that will leave us open, I think, to attack from all of these planets over here. Is it worth it? Quite likely. More units are always nice, but we're going to do this battle for the moment. So to start with, very, very simple. We're going to send one unit of B2s to take this command post over down here, and we're going to take the abandoned factory over here. I don't know exactly what we get. Persuader, control. Okay, so that's the armored tank droids. Very nice indeed. Of course, get some more B2s down. Love me some good B2s. We'll get some crab droids out as well. And yeah, we'll do the same there. This looks to me like a Eriadu map from the original game. Looks like it's almost reversed. So usually it starts in this sector over here if you are invading, and the enemy base would be in here. That's rather interesting indeed. Some free persuaders are always nice. Build up over here where possible. Come on, build that. Come down, take the build pad over here, and we'll do the same again. Get a military field base. We will get out some more persuaders, and we'll get out, I think, I quite like the use of these gunships. AATs as well, just for some multi-roll. Start pushing as well. Just see if there's any more build pads in this area. Certainly one over here we can make use of. I'll just start pushing down to the enemy base, I think. What have we seen over here? Bark Speeder. Let's give some support, because we will lose the B2s there. Let's get up over here, struggling with commands a tad. Ripping those apart though with our persuaders and such. Very nice indeed. We're going to push forwards to these build pads. Pull back, just a tad. Get rid of the ACRC there. That's excellent, just so we get this good infantry support here. Start bringing around some more units. We'll push in, I think, this particular area over here. Just build up some turrets to protect our flank. What do we have over here? AA turrets, so we want to get rid of that so our HMPs over here can be fairly safe. Do have a power generator there, but it's not going to do too much for the enemy. We'll just protect our flank and sit on this particular post there. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, we'll get out to sit over here. Struggling with the pathing because we are just mass moving over here, but we'll go straight into the enemy base with an attack order. Attack move order. Get on top of these, please. Yeah, they're just struggling. Okay, we'll have to go around. Not a problem. Need to really micro this a little better, don't we? Let's pull back over here. Of course, micro is never a strong point. Push forwards. You can see when they don't have any dedicated AA, they do struggle with these gunships. We do have the advantage as well of destroying any standard turrets as well. Might as well take this since it's on the way. We can actually bring in a bombing run over here, can we? We certainly can, just to make that a little swifter. And we'll focus on the TX-130 and the factory producing those. Turn this off, move over. There's the bombing run coming in. Doesn't quite finish off the tax protection agency, but not to worry. Let's get rid of that before we start taking more losses. And come over in the side there, very nice indeed. And that, once again, because there's no standing army, very swift takeover there. And rather unfortunately, because of our carelessness, we did lose 2 units of B2s, but again, produce those in droves, and we will be producing more because not only do we want to replace them, but so we do want to build up our army in this sort of area, don't we? Let's get some units onto Scipio. We have run down our coffers, but that's absolutely fine. That was one of the plans for today. We need to get some units out of that. And we have actually started producing more units towards our top corner around Mon Calamari and such. Just going to wait for these to come down, make sure they're deployed properly. Now, let's just double check our messages. We haven't seen any messages about an incoming attack, which is great. Let's move then some units towards each other here. So for the minute, we have a Providence over here. I thought I'd try to build some more. Getting 2 Providences out, not a problem. Gonna have that. We're gonna want to bring in the Dreadnoughts. They're cruisers, aren't they, over here? Yeah, they're cruisers. They will produce 1 fighter at least, but there's some sort of support. Let's bring this over. And we are going to start producing, I think, what do we have over here? Captain munitions. We have 4 of those. Very nice indeed. Let's get out some more damage dealing frigates, I think. We'll go for... does anything else get a discount around here? Okay, we will get the destroyers out. We get 4 of those for now. We'll start looking down here again, because we do have the Viceroy down here. Sullust does have 2 providences out. Did we want to bring those over here? Do have 2 providences. I think that's absolutely fine. That fleet is looking very bulky indeed. So what we could do over here, 2 of those. We have something on Usapau, 2 more of these dreadnoughts. Let's get out some more carriers for now. I'll get 3 for now and wait for the next income cycle. And what do we actually want to do over here? Let's pause once again just to take stock of things. Naboo is looking very, very heavily defended with this special falchion over here and a lot of special ops clones, which is rather interesting. So it really makes me wonder, it's going to take a very, very hefty assault indeed, especially with the heavy factories here to produce the TX-130s once again. So Naboo's going to be quite the tough nut again to crack. Do have some standing army over here to pull in. Minor one on Malice there, we're going to have to improve that. Kareem is looking okay with some good buildings there as well. How's Tinner looking? Not too bad with some artillery and infantry there. What are we going to do though if we do get attacked? Deko Nemoidia certainly needs orbital reinforcing there. We don't have an ion cannon, but I would like to get up the Dreadnought shipyard there. So we'll get that in motion. How are we looking on Cato and Nemoidia? We do have turbo laser defences there. That's probably the right way to go for the minute because we're not defending that in orbit just yet. In fact, I think rather than turbo lasers, what I want to go for is a base shield generator there to prevent orbital bombardments and bombing runs, which is usually where we fall down in ground defences. What are we doing over here? Certainly want to get the Senator's office up. And over here, what have we got on Wayland? More turbo lasers. Still want to get Mandalore up just 1 more point of influence so we do get that mission done so we can side with the Death Watch over there. And I think we might want to just sacrifice a little bit of income and remove that tax collection agency just to get that up perhaps. Because we do have all of the orbital stations possible currently over there. I think they get replaced. Not liking the look of how we're deployed on Salikamai. Can we fit more people onto Trandosha? We certainly can. So we'll bring some units to the front line there. Units about to invade Wayland. Interesting. We do have a fleet over there. So that suggests if we can pause, because we can't see Umbara. How the hell are they getting to Wayland? It will be from Ethor and Agamar. Okay, interesting. That's very, very interesting indeed if they're going for Wayland. We can see the text message there. If that's the case, we're going to scout around Umbara once again.
Constructing
And Kashyyyk.
vehicle in production.
Wait for that invasion to come in. That's very scary if they think they can take our fleet on there. Sometimes I find these reports are a little false though.
Construction complete.
Good to know what the enemy's up to there. Okay, so this massive fleet has rearranged, and you know what, I'm going to go for that because look at that ground force there. That's 14 ARC troopers, and that actually opens up the way to Umbara. Do still have 2 praetors over there, so they are certainly shifting around. Did they have the hypervelocity cannon over there? They still do. Don't want to fight with the hypervelocity cannons about. We could certainly go over here though to get rid of this army over here. Did we have something? We do have actually a interdiction capable ship. We're going to move in with the frigate first. Let's do that before this shifts, so before that attacks something of ours. So, of course, how are we going to go about this battle anyway? Because the enemy does still have a good fleet over here. They've got a good amount of victories. They have some Venators. They do still have victories in reserve, I believe. There is a hypervelocity cannon on the ground. I think, again, Grievous can tank that. We are going to move up a little bit from the start, but we're going to pull back a tad, not right in the enemy's faces. We're going to bring in, I think, 2 Providences for the carrying capacity, and of course bring in, I think we're going to bring in some Captors to start off with. I'm just thinking about the pop cap difference. Bring in a couple Captors at the back, and we'll bring in some normal flights here. Do still want something to help Grievous out in the fight. We do still need to bring in the Omni for support. We'll bring that towards the back, and that's really limited us now. So I think really some Gazantes to help out our bombers. So we'll let our units deploy, get an interdiction mine up to get that ready, bring up over here to support, wait for some bombers to come out, and we'll get some bombers onto the victories, I think, to start with. There's the hypervelocity cannon coming, and that's now a race against time with that before that destroys Grievous, I think. Damage his engines, so if we do pop out, and if we do have to retreat, we will be losing Grievous in this current state. Not the biggest worry though, because of course Grievous can come back, now that he's a top tier ship, he can come back as his previous state in, I believe, the recusant class Dreadnought. We're going to get all of our bombers together and gunships. We're going to control group those. We're going to move our fighters up to begin with. Looks like the enemy fighters are pulling back, which is rather interesting, which means that the enemy capitals over here are isolated.
Awaiting command. Awaiting your command. Cannon
Control
lowered.
group these, get on top of a victory over here.
Target confirmed. Destroying lasers.
Come back with our fighters and see what the enemy fighters are up to. Not too interested, are they? That's rather interesting. Push up a little bit with our fleet then,
General Grievous frowns on such ineptitude.
so that we can truly take
A
advantage
lightsaber.
of any weakened enemies. Do have some units in reserve here. Okay then, well, we'll start peppering over here. Do have some rockets with our fighters there. Very slow moving bombers though, unfortunately. Yeah, the fighters are protecting over here, not a problem. If that's the case, what I'm going to do, there's another hypervelocity cannon shot. Here come some enemy bombers, we're going to get straight on top of those. And all of these bombs going straight onto that victory. And with the help of our gunships, we can start targeting the lasers and such.
Destroying lasers.
And what we're going to do is we're going to be a little bit cruel here. We're going to reduce this just to 1 or 2 points over here, so the enemy can't bring in their own reinforcements. So let's just get on top of the fighters. Control group again for the bombers. Grievous is firing out his ion cannon. Not a problem there. Okay, let's move away. That is going to destroy before we can move away. Not a problem. Let's get on top of this Venator.
Activated.
How's Grievous' engines looking in case we do need to retreat? That's the question. Get on top of the enemy bombers incoming, of course. That's going to do a lot of damage to that Venator with our bombers though. That is excellent. Going to move on to the victory before we destroy that, because Grievous will certainly be able to take on a damaged Venator very, very easily indeed. And I want to get rid of the victories because they will do a lot of damage if they can concentrate their power onto any of our ships. Stop over here. I didn't mean to push them quite that far. Let's pull back.
Batteries online.
Bring up with the captors. Come in with the Omni. Not focusing their own bombers at all, are we? We need to bring back then. Yeah, we're going to be losing this one. Look at that coming in there. Get rid of this victory. There's another hypervelocity cannon shot coming out. How's that looking? Not too bad. Tying up their bombers. Shields are looking good on Grievous. We did of course lose that Providence. So what we're going to do is come in with some diamonds over here. Just a couple. And we're going to come in, I think, with some more ships to hurt the enemy a little bit there as some support. Because we do now need to start thinking about the incoming Venators and such, don't we? Get onto this Arctons over here. How are our bombers doing? Looking good over here. Let's get onto another Venator. Running out of fighter support.
Awaiting your orders, sir.
Don't know why they take move commands as well as attacks. But not to worry. Alright, let's get on to these minor frigates and such, because they'll start wrecking our own protection there. Bombers doing good against over here. Excellent. We need to get on top of these enemy bombers though. Get on top of this Venusaur. Focus his Carracks. Doing nasty over here are the enemy. Let's go to power to weapons before that goes down. How are we doing? Wrecking over there. Let's get on top of this next Venusaur. Over here. Yeah, that's okay. Let's focus over here. Power to weapons. Rather a nasty fight. Rather a messy fight, actually. Let's get some iron cannon shots, if possible, over here with Grievous. We are going to bomb that once again, and that should be the majority of the enemy's standing fleets. We can't see any reinforcements coming in, and they definitely would have done by now. If they could, we've lost a PDF cruiser. Not to worry. What we should bring in now then to support, I think it's just another one to be honest, so bring in these two. Another high velocity cannon shot coming in. What's that going to do to Grievous? Not destroying any hard points, which is good. I think really what we could have gone for is more diamonds over here, because look at all these bombers and such. Let's get our own bombers then onto the Haven class station. We should be absolutely fine over there. Excellent. That is a massive blow to the enemy. We do still have some things hidden over here. There's some their own dreadnoughts. That's absolutely fine. Certainly dealing with that. Go to power to weapons just to make that a little quicker. Some units get this emergency jump ability, emergency retreat like this. I would love to have that ability with Grievous. That's very much in his character to emergency retreats. But not a problem. We'll just get on top of these enemy fighters and such. Because we are losing our bombers, and that's not a problem. We're going to just attack move towards the enemy stations now. And of course we will have to get rid of all of these units over here. This is their landing force. They're trying to hide in the nebula. I wonder if that is actually a mechanic. That's not something that's ever really explained in the game, is nebulas really do hide your ships. You can't use special abilities when you're in a nebula.
Frequency open.
That's not going to do much of those over there, is it? Getting some more fighters out because we can from our deployables over here. More bombers as well, so bring those over. That's excellent. And with these captors, we do get some extra secondary capacity as well. There's another shot coming out. Thus, I think we'll be able to survive until the end of the battle with that. We just need to keep on moving forwards. So I think what we'll do is actually we'll start moving our more minor fighters and such over to the enemy landing craft, so we don't spend too much time at the end of the battle doing that. And our bombers and such just running riot among the enemy transport ships over here. That's absolutely brilliant to see. Always a fine catch when you see these landing troops, landing transports in orbit above a planet. Easy pickings. Do we still see something over here? We certainly do. That's hiding rather nastily. That's absolutely fine. We can just move over. Get our fighters over a little more specifically there so they have the travel. Do move a little slower at that. We have removed the enemy's space station, so now it's just a race against time before Grievous takes too many more hypervelocity cannon shots. So let's get on over. Move as quickly as possible, I think.
I copy.
Order things individually because once again they do move at the rate of the slowest ship. That's the mine. Left some tri-droids over here. So, there we go. We did unfortunately lose a Providence. Not a bother though, not too much of a bother. I will certainly take those losses in favour of this trade over here. We did get some rather nasty things. We've got this HAET gunship, which is very, very nasty indeed, and all of these ARC troopers as well. And of course the space fleet above is also a nice pick. We are going to retreat from that though. And I think that will be it for today, guys. We might well be back with a bonus video because we're very much enjoying this, but we shall have to see. Thank you very much for watching today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the video. It's always very fun to produce these videos, very fun game to play. So thank you very much for watching. Please do leave any feedback in the comments section, and I shall see you in the future. May all of your nights and days be auspicious. Goodbye.